Hey, what's up guys, I'm Exteria, and in this video, I'm gonna teach you guys one of the most powerful reroll comps you can play in the current meta, which is Rengar reroll. This comp is so powerful that in my last game, before I started recording, all I had was just Rengar and Graves 3, and easily won the game just by one-shotting everything, because Rengar is such a beast. Starting off with our items, remember this rule, never build crit items. The reason why is because execution is itself is already a synergy that has crit in it. So technically, yes, double IE is pretty good, but if you put IE on an executioner unit, it's like as if you're putting 3 IEs on them, so it's a waste of value. And the item prior order you want to do here is to have a sword, because we're gonna need a lot of them, since sword is built on almost everyone here. Glove is pretty decent second item, because you can make Hodges, you can make Guardbreaker, you can make QSS, or if you don't have a Bloodthirster yet, get a Cloak. If you already have a Bloodthirster, then yeah, go back to gloves. Maybe you can make a Deep Gloves on Graves, that's fine as well. And the last item you should get is like around a tier, because you can make Redemptions with them, you can make a Shojin on Varus, or even better yet, you can make a Hodge for your carries. Speaking of carries, our main carry here is going to be Rengar, and his best in slot is to have a Bloodthirster, Titans. Titans is very good on Rengar because you need him to gain damage and some defense, so he'll last long enough to max stack easily. And Hodge is the best third item, so he can gain some damage and some healing. If you have any of these artifacts here, like Infinity Force or Death Defiance, it's good to trade out a Titans for it. If you cannot build Titans, then you can always build a Knight, that's okay as well. And then for the third item slot, having either Polar's Claw, Silver Mirror, Spectre, or even Mins is good substitute for a Hodge. And if you can't build a Hodge, you can always build a Guardbreaker. Pretty simple. For Graves, honestly, you could just put Thieves Gloves on him, it's fine. He's technically just a Rengar item holder, but if you want to know his best in slots, it will be a Bloodthirster, Last Whisper, and a QSS. You're gonna need some sort of armor break on the item, so the Last Whisper on Graves is kind of necessary. If not, you can put it on Varus or Vex later. Either one is fine. Even Shroud's kind of hard to play with since Rengar's just jumping everywhere, and you don't really have a tank in this comp, so having an Even Shroud is kind of useless, but if you need armor break, you should build it. The artifacts you can substitute at least QSS with is Spectre. This item is actually really good on Graves. It's one of his highest win rate items, and same with Mittens. If you cannot build Bloodthirster on Graves, Hodge is fine. If you cannot build Last Whisper, Guardbreaker is fine. If you can't build QSS, either Edge Knight or Titans is alright. In the end, like I said, just a Thieves Gloves is better overall for Graves. So you can focus on your Varus items, which is some sort of mana item like Shojin or Adaptive Helm, and since he's kinda technically AoE, having an anti-heal item is great on him, like Merlocon or Red Buff. Unless you want to put more AP items on him, it's fine. You can put anti-heal items on Vex, that's okay. And then third item should be amplification items such as Death Cap, or even Guardbreaker. The thing to note here is Horizon Focus is actually really good on Varus because this allows him to one-shot tanks with this item since he stuns, and what this item does is if you stun them, you do 30% as their max health into magic damage. So you'll be basically deleting tanks with this item on Varus. If you get any emblems, such as Executioner, which is the main one, either throw it on Renekton if you can. If not, Echo is fine, or just any other value units, it's okay. If you get a Divinity Corpse bat, which is actually really good for this comp, just throw it on anyone with space. You can throw it on Graves, or you can throw it on like Nico or Echo. It doesn't really matter. The extra little bit of Omni Vent from Divinity Corp will help Rengar survive a little bit longer. Another side note of the emblem too is if you have Strategist emblem is also good as well. The playstyle you want to play this comp is a win streak, which is like high tempoing the fast 7. In order to do this is at stage 2-1, you level to 4, stage 2-3, make 10 gold, or you can do that 2-2 as well. Just always make intervals of 10 gold. Because the more gold you have, the more you can roll with for 3 stars later. If for whatever reason around stage 2-3, you have intervals like 14 gold, 24 gold, 34 gold, you should pre-level to level 5 like this. Your shop XP will look like that. The reason why is because when you come back from Carousel, you might get more Rengars this way, or you might high roll a 4-cost unit that you can use the win streak with. If you don't do this part at stage 2-4, it's okay, you can level to 5 here instead. It's just better to do it like this because you have higher shop odds. At stage 2-6, make intervals again of like 10, 20, 30 gold. If you can do this at stage 2-5 as well. This is just like markers to tell you like when to do it. At stage 3-2, hit level 6. If you are too weak, you should roll for Graves 2 so you can stabilize and just have Rengar items on Graves, is fine. And at stage 3-7, then you hit level 7 and then you roll for your board afterwards. And then you just hit level 8 whenever you have Rengar 3-star to play for your full board later. Basically about it for this comp. Loose streaking with this comp is not ideal since this is a high damaging comp with no bailout besides just hitting Rengar 3 with 5 Executioner. So stay as healthy as much as you can. For our openers is going to be Grave Start, which is the best start to do. I will show different openers after I explain this whole slide. Second of that would be a Shaco since you're going to be playing Mundo, and Alistair to synergize with the Grave so you can get Golden Ox. You can throw out whatever you want that's not Shaco, it's fine. It's just Shaco can give you extra damage since, you know, Mundo and Shaco are both Slayers, so help. The level 7 budget version, meaning not using any of the 4-cost units, is you play Rengar as the main carry, so whatever items you had on Graves, transfer it to Rengar, and you keep Graves in, you keep the Alistair in, you keep the Mundo in. The only thing we get rid of here is basically Shaco to have Varus in, so you can have 3 executioners. And an Echo would allow you to get Street Demon with Mundo and Rengar. And then a +1 unit, anything is fine. You can find any of the 4 cost units like Vex or Nico. Or you can just throw in Gragas, which is good as well, to hold you off. But the full board here is basically instead of Mundo, it's Vex, and instead of Gragas, it would be Nico. If you have an Executioner emblem at level 8, just put it on a Renekton would be best, or you can put it on any of these 1+ units, besides Urgot, because Urgot's also Executioner. So in order to finish off this comp, you kind of have to hit 8 as soon as you 3-star Rengar, and you have to either high roll for an emblem, or high roll for Urgot. So level 8 is just all about luck. And then to switch out Alistar, technically you want to switch out Alistar for a Viego, but if you want a better unit than Alistar, you could do J4. To me personally, it's a waste of money. I would rather just hold off Alistar until we find Viego, but it's up to you if you want to have the J4 in over the Alistar. Tips I could give you about this comp is if you find a lot of Jinx for whatever reason, you can drop playing this Executioner comp and just play 7 Street Demon. I don't really recommend it though, because it's not too strong. Unless you have, like, I guess BIS Jinx items would be Shojin, Winsu's Rageblade, and IE, which is fine. I've seen people win with it playing this style of Rengar, but personally I feel like it's just better playing 5 Executioner. On Carousel, if you can find a Strategist emblem, always take it, because it makes the board a lot stronger since you're already playing 2 with Echo and Nico. Now on to the team builder segment, so you guys have a visual idea of how to play different openers. We're going to start with the Shaco opener. So you have Shaco with the Rengar items. BT would be the best one to start with, and from here you can build out with Slayers such as Mundo, and since Mundo's a bruiser, you can have an Alistar in, then have a +1 backline unit like Kog'Maw or a Seraphine, just whatever to dish out damage with, and you can just branch out from here. Just play your strongest board you can, like for example, maybe you can find a TF, and then maybe at level 5 you find a Darius, then you can just turn Shaco into the Syndicate. Just put the hat on him and he'll be like carrying you a little bit until you hit level 7. The thing about this board though is you might as well just play Zed at this point, but if you do decide to play Rengar, that's fine as well. A different opener I can show you would be a super budget one, which is a Vi opener. Vi would indicate to play Zed at this point, because if you have, for example, like this opener, if you have a Cypher opener, you might as well just play Lusteric Cypher into a Zed. But if you don't have a Cypher opener, then you can just play whatever's that's strong with Vi, because she's an 80 unit. So she's really good with like melee items like Bloodthirster. Then you can play like maybe Silas. And then from here, maybe you can build like Anima, like Seraphine, and an Alawi. So it can hold you off so you can like win streak to level 6 or 7. Or you can just throw in like another techie unit instead of having Anima. Just whatever you can find that's strong. The last opener I can show you would be like a Nidalee opener. This unit is actually really strong in general, because she's really good with BT. So you just use Nidalee and then just try to play for a Nitro opener. At this point, you might as well just play a Nitro game, but if you really want to play Rengar from this spot, you can. So just play whatever you can find. Like Shyvana is a Bastion, so you just throw in a Bastion unit like a Poppy or a Jax. Either one is fine. And then since Kindra's a rapid fire unit, maybe you want to throw in a Kog'Maw, or maybe you might find a Jhin. If not, you could probably do an Fairy for the extra amp on Nidalee. But yeah, like I said, at this point, as you can see it, you might as well just play the Jhin comp at this point. But if you really want to play Rengar with this board, you can. The other opener I can show would be main opener, which is having a Grave start. And to do that is Graves with an Alistar. Since Alistar is a Golden Ox, this will help Graves to do a little bit extra damage. Then you throw in a bruiser like Mundo, so you can activate extra HP on the board. Then you can just throw in Shaco, wherever, and this will be a pretty decent start. This last unit doesn't have to be Shaco. You can throw in like whatever, like a Jhin would be really good because you get that armor break for Graves. Or you can throw in a Kog'Maw or a Seraphine, just whatever backline damage is okay. Just Shaco helps you a lot with synergy, so you can have a little bit more damage. Then from here, you can just play your strongest board. Maybe you might be able to find a Darius, that's fine. Or maybe you might be able to find a Vayne is whatever. Or if you get lucky, maybe you might be able to find a Varus, so you can have the Executioner online. And then when you hit level 6, then maybe you might be lucky to find a Rengar, or maybe you just could use Senna is fine as well. Just whatever the power of the board. If you are too weak right here, you should level Graves to level 2, so you can temple to 7 easier. Then once you hit level 7, you play the base board. And that base board would be to have a Rengar, an Echo, and then we can keep either Senna or throw in a Gragas. It's just whatever value you want on the board. I personally like Senna just because it gives you extra damage for the board. Then you transfer the carry items to Rengar. And then positioning for the rest of this video doesn't really matter because it depends on the Street Demon, since that's what we're playing. And then from here, as you're rolling down, you want to 3-star your Rengar. And then by then, you can easily 3-star Graves. It'll be kind of hard to 3-star Varus here, but if you do, that's great. And then the main core items for each one would be to have a Shojin on Varus and whatever AP items. And then for Graves, it would be a Last Whisper, the Armor Break for Rengar. If not, you can do a Thieves Gloves, it's fine too. Either one is great. But if you don't have Armor Break, then you're probably gonna need it. Maybe you can throw it on Echo and Even Shroud. It's not the best, but like it's something so it can help Rengar one-shot the front line. And then if you do have the Executioner emblem at this point, then you can just put it on Echo for now until you can find like a better unit that can use it later. Once Rengar is 3-star, you want to hit level 8 and you want to look for a good value unit. If you have emblem, you can use Renekton and then just put the emblem on Renekton. That's great. Or you can do it on Garen, so you can put Executioner on other units later. And then by then, you want to trade out Senna for Vex. And I like putting Vex in the middle just because of the way her ability works. Since you could be targeting the main tank a lot with Vex, because the more times she hits the same unit, the more damage she will do. If you cannot have a Executioner emblem, then you're going to have to find an Urgot. And then from here, you probably might win out. And then you just trade out Alistair for an upgrade like a Viego, because it gives you a +1 golem, which helps a lot. But yeah, this board is basically about it. It's not too complicated to play. Level 9, just throw in more value. Like, you can throw in a Kuboko for extra tank, or you could throw in a Zac. It doesn't really matter. Oh, and I forgot. You do upgrade the Mundo into a Nico, because you get strategist in. This is like the main thing that makes Rengar strong as well, is because you have strategist and you have street demon in, so it makes him last longer since you gain durability from strategist and you also gain extra damage from street demon. That's like the big thing to know about this. So if you do have a strategist emblem, you could throw on like Vex or you could throw on Urgot, that's fine. For the augments, you want to auto click, meaning you should just take it almost no matter what. Would be Cut Purse. This augment allows you to tempo really hard because you start with a Graves and a Rengar already. On top of that, if you gain kills, then you gain more gold. And Executioner Crest will allow you to cap the board easier and quicker. Same with Cooking Pot. You just get a glove and you get a Cooking Pot. It will give you Executioner emblem. So it gives you more HP for Rengar on top of that. So just put the unit next to Rengar, whoever has the emblem, so he can gain more HP. Living Forge will be very important for this board because having artifact items will boost up your unit's damage by a lot. Speaking of Rengar, Trifecta is very good for both Rengar and Varus because it makes your 3-cost units even stronger. If you want to get other item augments, you can get like Component Buffet to BIS your items, or just regular portable forge if you can't get living forge. Now today is also pretty decent. If you can have a Titans on Rengar, this augment allows you to gain a free item and it buffs the Rengar a lot with a huge amount of attack speed after this item pops. If you want to guarantee 3 stars, Rig Shop and Hero Grab Bag will help you a lot easier to 3-star Rengar. Good combat augments would be like Overheal, because every 3rd hit, Rengar will heal a lot and do burst damage. Cybernetic Implants is just good default stats. Same with Noble Sacrifice, it'll give you a lot of defense for the whole board. The augment power order you kind of want to do is to have an item. So if you can get a Living Forge off rip, it'll be the best one. Second to that would be a combat augment, like one of these. And to finish off the board, an emblem would be really great. If not, you can do combat augment again. And that is it for the Rengar reroll comp. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section down below. I'll try to answer to the best of my capabilities. Also, let me know what kind of other comps you guys want me to do. The next one I have lined up is Brand Strategist with Street Demon. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.